Why am I the only one singing here?
Because you're the only one with the lyrics right in front of you.
You guys don't know the lyrics?
We
No,
don't
sorry.
We're so sorry. Okay, so welcome to AME After Hours, UP AME's official podcast where we talk about anything and everything anime, manga, or enthusiasts. My name is Angelica and I will be your new host for this semester.
This is Eric. I will also be talking regularly in the AME After Hours
And we'd like to introduce ACADCOM's newest member.
Hi, I'm Ian.
And we also have some guests.
Hello, I am Faye and K.
So welcome to the first podcast of the semester! Yay! So as you guys may have noticed, Mac isn't with us today because he graduated! Yay! Anyway,
Continue.
Continue, yes. I will be the new host. I'm Angelica. I'm the new ACADCOM VP and I will be the new host for AME After Hours every Friday. So, what are we going to talk about today?
Hey guys, welcome back to school.
Why?
Yeah, I like doing puns, guys.
You like puns.
They like puns.
Okay, so what we're gonna talk about this week is everything about our first days, first weeks, coming back to school, basically anime recommendations as well that would involve having school life, and any goals for the new school year. Yeah.
Okay. So before we start with our podcast, we're gonna introduce ourselves so that you can get to know the cast a little bit better. So why don't we start with you, Mr. Singer? Because you did the opening.
What does that have to do with? Okay, fine.
Nothing. I'm just ordering.
Okay, so hi, I'm Eric. Org also called me Moe, but that's not visible or anything in any way, not even my voice. So what I like, anime that would involve music and also magic. I also like magic in my anime. Dislikes blood and gore.
What if there was an anime about music, but it was also a horror anime?
Oh shoot, that's gonna be hard. Depends. Are the spooky people singing as well? Because
So,
maybe then I
then
will watch
maybe.
it.
So how do you feel about Zombieland Saga?
Oh, I didn't like that.
How about that?
But it wasn't blood and gore.
How about Dance and Danish?
That was a trip. That was a trip. That's all. I'm not sure how to feel about it. I didn't finish the whole thing, but it was a trip. I can tell you. And yeah, I'm hopefully graduating as well this year.
Yay!
Alright, so that's enough about me. How about we go to
Ian.
No, to you, Angelica.
Wow. Why me? I was gonna say.
You're beside me.
Fine. So yeah, hi, I'm Angelica. I used a different name in the previous podcast series. It was my last name because that's how people call me in Tatambayan. But now, yeah, let's go with Angelica for this podcast. But get used to it. Okay, so what I like, obviously I like anime and manga. I really like sports anime and mystery anime. My dislikes, I'm not that into mecha anime for some reason. I don't know why.
So do you like the Gundam series?
I like one Gundam series, that's
Which
Gundam 000, but I don't like the other one. I don't So yeah, hopefully I'm also graduating this year. I'm dying for a thesis, but hopefully I'll still graduate. Yes.
Ganbatte.
Yeah, my hobbies are also, I like researching about anime. That's why I became the ACADCOM.
Yeah.
So, yeah, podcast is fun. We get to analyze a lot of stuff about anime and manga.
Sometimes overanalyze.
Yeah, sometimes we overanalyze.
Yeah.
But it's fun.
Very, very fun.
Next we have...
Anyway, hello, I'm Ian again.
Hi!
Fine.
Hi!
But anyway, well, actually in the Tambayan I have a lot of other nicknames, but it's not relevant here. Just call me Ian.
And,
So for my likes, well, in terms of anime and manga, I usually like slice of life stories actually. So yeah, school life is there, and sometimes even like college life or even working life. Those kinds of manga and anime really resonated with me. For dislikes though, not sure. I'm not that picky with genres. I mean, I watch a lot. Although I guess the genre I watch the least maybe is horror. Horror and gore, yeah, same with Eric.
may karami ako.
And well, like our two other main speakers, I'm also hopefully graduating this year.
Yeah.
I've been here so long, guys. Free me.
Pray for us. Pray for us. We have to graduate.
Hindi pa kayo mag-graduate na. Iyak na lang.
There. We've all been there.
You guys still have to introduce yourself.
For our
We have
special
two
guest.
special guests today. Introduce yourselves. Come on.
Hello, I am Faye, and I have
Faye.
Kay with me, which is my twin sister. So, even though we're twins, we don't really have the same likes, so I'll just say my likes muna. I like adventure anime, and the least genre that I like is harem. As in, yeah, I like otome, but harem, no. So there's a difference. It's obvious naman kung bakit different. Very biased. So yun, and I like playing MOBA every free time, and I'm freshie, sort of, well, shifty in clothing tech. So yeah, yay! Ako na ba?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yay!
Hi, I'm Kay. I'm a fifth year sort of student. Dapat gagawin din ako, pero majors happened. So even though I have thesis this year, I'll be graduating 2 years from now. So yeah, sad that. Then my likes would be, I don't like anime and actually I don't games din. I love games, like rhythm games din so far right now. Pero I can't do the ones in the arcade. I'm just a mobile game. rhythm game player. Then dislikes, I just don't like fangirls from certain series. I'm not really
The tea.
certain series. What's the plural of series anyway? That's it. That's it.
Okay, so now that we've introduced everybody, let's head on to the podcast itself. So, it's fine. So, it's September right now, and in case you guys don't know, UP has a different academic calendar,
Oh, yeah.
and which we really hate.
We
Right?
do,
Not
we
just
do.
me, yeah.
Terrible.
So, like, it's terrible, guys.
Why do they do this?
But still, go to UP if you want to. But, I don't know. Anyway, so our school year actually starts in August and it's September right now. So it's been a month since we started our academic year in UP. So how have you guys been this past month?
Well, we're still not validated, I guess.
Yay!
Although it started today
It started
though.
now. We're
For
gonna
some,
get
not
validated.
everyone.
Validated already?
Yeah.
In my college, di pa, kasi we have the labs are not, yung lab fees, hindi pa daw kasi siya included, so parang delayed kami for another week.
Lab fees.
In our college, we're gonna get validated na. Yay, next week.
Yay.
Yay, I feel valid!
Since I have no classes technically, I probably should ask already, right?
You should.
You should.
Because, I don't know, I think I'm gonna be the easiest to process. It's like 0 units. That should be the
Click print.
easiest, right?
That's true.
Well, for me, this past month, with regards to validation, actually, I'm not covered by the free tuition law anymore. So, for the past month, I've been trying to give them my money, but they don't take it. I don't get it. You don't want my money? But, government be like that sometimes.
How about you guys?
I think same lang din yung. I think my college and his college is just the same-ish. It's just a department which is different. So it's starting kami, pero I don't know what happened.
Okay, let's talk about something else other than validation.
I find it very hot issue right now.
But my parents have actually been wanting me to think about my future as well.
Oh no!
They keep asking me where do I want to go after I graduate from UP. It's like, damn, I don't have a single idea where I want to go. It's like,
There.
There.
Shoot.
Go to Japan.
Go to Japan.
This fear is creeping up to me sometimes. Like, I swear, I can just feel the darkness of the lab just poking me. It's like, dude, do you have anything yet? Damn.
Leave me alone.
We're all adults here.
Do you have any plans for your future?
No, you don't ask a question like that, man.
Why?
I mean,
It hurts.
I agree, but I kind of do actually. But
Oh, really?
I thought that was we were going to talk about later. But
That's
okay.
So, yeah, what are we doing right now?
We're fine.
Other than finding validation in life and finding our futures.
well,
Well, we're dying. I'm dying from my thesis. It's hard. Because, like, one of my thesis topics was gonna be about anime and manga, and I'm still upset about it because they didn't like it. My advisor didn't. Well, it's not like he didn't like it. He was actually very interested, but apparently it wasn't significant enough. It doesn't have enough impact. It's only significant to me apparently.
Oh, no.
And
I see.
by the way, my thesis topic was going to be about queer Filipino youth and online transformative works like fan fiction and fan art, and how does the queer youth receive that sort of message. And it was going to be fun. I had people I can interview already. I had a theory already. There's a cultural theory of fandom. But no, my hopes were dashed in like 5 minutes.
That's so
Life
sad.
be like
But
that.
hey, I have a database of fan studies papers right now that I need to get into.
Good luck with that.
Bright side of things.
Well, on the more fun side of things, I guess, since my academics haven't really gotten off the ground yet, it's just lectures, boring stuff. But at the very least, in UP, I've gotten opportunities such as last Monday, actually, when some students from Chuo University visited our university, the UP, to present their research on topics about economic development, specifically economic development issues in the Philippines. So it was really interesting, even though I could really tell how hard it was for them to speak full English the entire time. Yeah, if you think Japanese is hard for you, English is hard for Japanese people as well. So it was really a treat to interact with them, and then when they found out I could speak Japanese, they were like so surprised, like, oh,
Sugoi!
oh, those are this name.
I guess that's one of the good things in UP, even though we have the weirder academic calendars than other people. I guess more topics and discussions like that are presented more openly here, I guess. Something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, and the best part really is the cultural exchange sometimes. Like when we ate food, because it was all Filipino food, so they were asking like, "What's this? What's this?" I was like,
Wait,
"Oh,
what's your
that's
favorite
chicken."
food? What food do they like?
Some of them, well, one of them said empanada. Empanada. Another person said lugaw. There are also people who said
but that's just
sinigang.
Sinigang!
Isn't that just rice with hot water?
No!
I would never
Shame.
I've always eaten my lugaw as an arroz caldo, so I'm...
Dude, parang
No, arroz caldo specifically lugaw with chicken and maybe a hard-boiled egg. But lugaw can have other things in it: beef, garlic, onions.
I always thought that lugaw was the plainness of the
No, it's not.
gorgeous.
That sounds more like congee,
yeah,
like base congee.
Congee.
Yeah, I think congee is the one with the no taste.
Yes. So, how has your first month been?
It was very stressful. Being in a new college feels so weird. Like,
Oh yeah, you did shift.
yeah, I shifted from Archie to clothing tech. I thought my load would be lighter, but it felt just like the same, except that my batch was more close knit because we're just 15, 16 in a batch, so it's just one class, and we always interact. Like every class is like, oh you're there, yay! And they're like, oh Ate Faye, and I'm like, oh I'm the oldest, all right, I'm the oldest. I'm technically fifth year in their standards, and they're like 2019, and I'm like 2014, and I'm like. And they all depend on me on stuff, and they keep on telling me, why are you so fast in plates? I'm like, oh.
Popcorn helps.
Yes.
My training with bodies. With drawing bodies,
Juicy.
guys. Drawing bodies actually help. Okay, I'm done.
For me, my first, the start of the sem was okay-ish. Our sem actually started in the mid-year because the thesis is applied in the mid-year sem, and we didn't get the topics we want. So it's like, Christ, we got our third choice topics. It's like, it's like,
I know the feeling.
But since we have homeworks in our thesis subject for some reason, that requires us to research the topic we got. We kind of liked it more now, I guess. But enough of the thesis part. Let's go to a bit of a funner, more fun topic. In my Hapon class, Faye and I had same Japanese Hapon teacher, Hapon sensei, and she thought I was Faye.
Oh, no. You're taking her class.
More like she's like, Bobby-san, huh? Why are you here? Then she just looked at the laptop silently for a few seconds, and then she's like, is she your sister? Like, yes. I was so ready to defend myself. I am not Faye. Very ready. But that's it. That's the fun part of my thing.
Everyone's talking about their thesis, but I don't want to talk about mine. You will not understand it. It's a math thesis.
Oh, math.
Yeah.
Me, an engineering student.
It's about
Math.
squares and triangles. I'm just gonna stop there. It's just about squares and triangles and finding relationships about squares and triangles. I'm shipping squares and triangles.
Wow. Sometimes in math you have to make do, huh?
Yeah, but other than that, have any of you watched Weathering with You actually?
Yes. Yes, I have. Oh my god, sorry guys.
You
Oh, yeah.
say it's a good
Yes.
anime?
Kimi no Na wa I think was still better, but I think that has more to do with the fact that people are automatically comparing it to Kimi no Na wa. Like on its own, Weathering with You is a pretty good movie. Like animation, music. Music.
Music's always good.
The plot was actually a bit simpler than Kimi no Na wa, I think, and I guess because of Kimi no Na wa, it was a bit more predictable. But you can really still enjoy it. It was a bit more lighthearted than Kimi no Na wa because, yeah, that first movie really just dropped the feels on everyone.
That's true.
I mean, Weathering with You still has its own feels, but it's a lot more lighthearted. There's a lot more comedy, and the characters are actually a bit more like real. Like, you know, they're more true to life, I guess. Since the cast is a bit more diverse rather than in Kimi no Na wa where almost all of them were high school students or college students. So yeah, go watch, guys.
I mean, I was supposed to watch it with my cousins actually, like ganun. By the time that we are recording this, it's supposed to be the Weathering with You is still showing.
Yeah.
I was supposed to watch it with my cousins over the weekend. The thing is, it coincides with a family thing that we have. Not just my family, it's like the whole extended family. So.
Yeah.
Press
They
F.
had an ad in Katipunan LRT.
Weathering with You?
Yeah. It was so surprising. It was a really large ad too. Like, if you've ever been to Katipunan LRT, the really large billboard like ads.
I haven't been there
And the
recently.
thing is, most of the ads, they had black backgrounds, but the Weathering with You ad, it had a very blue background because of skies and clouds, and it was the only thing, it was so bright. It stands out. It's like a beacon that's telling you, go watch me. Go watch me.
Go be a weeb.
It's we're close enough in copying the Japan where merong ads in all train stations of our animes.
in the trains.
Nice.
Yeah, it's pretty nice.
It begins.
Come to think of it, we can talk about Weathering with You, but we didn't mention what Weathering with You is about.
I don't know. Would you want spoilers?
Could you give us like a short like?
Okay, I'll try to leave out as many spoilers as I can, but
Just
basically you.
talk about the characters. Like
Yeah,
your
Weathering with
characters.
You is mainly about two teenagers, Hodaka and I forgot her name. Hina. Hodaka and Hina. Yes, both their names start with H. Hodaka is a first year high school student who came from the country and moves to Tokyo by himself to hopefully start a new life there. And then Hina is basically the older of two siblings and who recently lost her parents, so she's left taking care of her brother. Then basically the story escalates when they meet and Hina discovers that she has powers that can influence the weather. Yeah, so that's where the title comes from, Weathering with You. Or more literally in Japanese, actually the title is Tenki no Ko, which translates into Child of the Weather.
I knew it. I was trying to think about it. Like, why does it not really translate well?
Yeah.
Well,
I guess it doesn't sound.
It happens.
Because Weathering with You sounds like a romantic anime, but Child of the Weather sounds more like, oh.
it is a romance
Yeah.
and it is a romance
Personal
movie
development.
first and foremost, actually. So it makes sense that they made that choice.
Child of Weather makes it sound like
Self-development.
wolf children.
Well,
Well,
so next.
So now that we've been talking about Weathering with You, let's talk about our anime because we're talking about school.
Triggered.
We're coming back now to school.
I'm so sorry, Matt, if you're listening.
We're already a month into school, but maybe some of us still haven't gotten into the groove of things yet. And some people still like watching their anime, and maybe some school-themed anime will get you into that drive of wanting to learn again. So, how about we talk about
How about we talk about a few recommendations?
I keep saying about. Let's talk about some anime recommendations that
Yeah.
involve school life. Let's mix it up. How about we start with Ian?
Okay, you know, one school life anime that I always will recommend. It's actually a rom-com anime. It's Lovely Complex.
Oh, lovely. Oh, it's cute. But remind me what Lovely Complex is.
Lovely Complex is the main twist of Lovely Complex is that
Alright, sorry about that. We had to pause our discussion a bit because of the alarm for 5 o'clock. Anyway, let's continue the discussion. So you're talking about Lovely Complex?
okay. So actually, the main twist of the premise of Lovely Complex is that it involves a quite short guy and a really tall girl. So actually, instead of other couples where they start kilig agad sila with each other, like love at first sight, they actually start off as a comedy duo. Like they always argue. They're like cats and dogs at first. And actually, I guess slight spoilers for the first part, but actually they don't even start with each other. At the start of the series,
Wait, they had relationships with other people before they were.
Yes and no. Yes and no. One of them did, technically. But at the start of the series, actually, they have their eyes on other people. It so happens. But then what happens in the end is, in their efforts to woo this other person, those two other people end up together. So they're both left in dust. So yeah, but from there, they find that they click with each other, that they are actually pretty comfortable with each other, but hijinks ensue. But actually, the latter part of the anime actually has a big difference from the manga. It diverges quite a bit, but at the very least, the anime does keep all the important stuff, such that it ends on the same note as the manga. So I guess if you want more shenanigans and more stories about the side characters, you can go ahead and read the manga after watching the anime.
So, how do you feel about that anime and your own school experience?
Well, my own school experience, nothing like that anime.
True, it's a romance anime.
And I guess for in the first place, I'm not even that sure the guy. Oof. Everyone triggered.
You just triggered.
No, why would I trigger myself by boasting about my height? That's a good thing.
Anyway.
But actually, when I first watched it, what really struck me the most is the portrayal of the characters' emotions, like how real it was. It wasn't just the oh, I got rejected, so I'm sad about this. Oh, I rejected her, so nothing. It really goes beyond that to portray how something like that would affect people, especially if they were friends to begin with. So you can really think of them as real people, not just as anime characters. So it really gets you more invested in their story. It even goes beyond their romance, like since the anime timeline actually encompasses all of their high school life. So by the end, they graduate, and by that time, they've already more or less planned out what they're going to do after high school. So, buti pa sila, di ba? So yeah, there's my pitch for Lovely Complex.
Alright. How about you, Tara? Angelica.
Angelica.
Angelica. I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to get used to that.
Get used to it. I'd actually like to talk about yoga. Yoga.
That's another. It's also romance.
Yeah.
Sort of.
I actually
Kinda.
I can't remember what it's about.
Actually, Huyoka is about this boy named Hotaro, and his character basically is he doesn't like to do unnecessary things. So, in short, he's a chill guy. He just wants to have a chill high school life.
He's the protagonist at the back corner of the classroom beside the window that always stares outside the class.
Yes.
That is literally what happens in the opening.
It's a stereotype, I guess.
Even the clown.
Wow, I haven't watched this anime yet. You described him so precisely.
And yeah, the thing is, Hotaru has a sister who used to be part of the classic literature club, and so his sister asked him to sign up to the club as a favor from her. And then in the club, he meets this girl named Chitanda Eru, and that's when his very chill life suddenly gets thrown in for a loop. Kasi Eru is a very curious girl, so she gets involved in a lot of things where you need to exert a lot of effort, which Hotaru doesn't like doing.
But he gets caught up anyway.
But he gets caught up anyway.
It's amazing.
Because he's very smart. So actually, most of the time siya yung may resolution for whatever curiosity Chitanda has. And yun, it really had an impact on me. And when I was in high school, because first of all, the animation, man, it's so gorgeous.
Oh yeah, KyoAni.
KyoAni,
is a legend.
we love you.
A moment of silence.
A moment of silence for Kerr.
I guess everyone knows here.
Yeah.
Yes.
But for those who
May not be aware.
are not aware of the news, it was last month or 2 months ago.
It was 2 months ago.
2 months ago.
KyoAni got an arson attack.
Yeah, KyoAni was attacked by an arsonist. Quite a number of people
Passed away,
after.
and some of KyoAni's resources also got destroyed in the fire.
And some of their future projects had to be delayed quite a bit. The Evergarden, for one, had postponed its movie release. Anyway, moving on. It was still. KyoAni still did very good job.
Yeah, Yoka really did inspire a lot of my high school life. Kasi diba, you see this kid who just wants to have a chill high school life, doesn't really want to get involved with a lot of people, but well, he's forced out of his comfort zone, and because he's forced out of his comfort zone, he called it a rose-colored high school life. Parang he enjoyed his high school life more now that he's getting more involved. I mean, he's still pretty chill for the most part, pero parang he saw the importance of trying to interact with other people and getting more involved with his friends. So yun,
Yeah.
as a person.
Yay for socialization.
Yeah, you for socialization. So yun, yeah, it taught me a lot of good things, like talk more to people. You never know that they might play a big role in your life later on. So yeah. But I'm still an introvert. I'm just saying. I'm less, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, just yeah. Watch yoga. I'd watch just for the animation, to be honest.
Alright. So,
What about you,
How
Eric?
about you, Eric?
I'm getting to it. I guess you guys are talking about anime that have already completed their run. But I'm gonna be talking about something from this current season. Something.
Look at Ian!
Yeah, Ian watches it too.
Crying sounds in
I
the background.
really want more people to watch it because it shakes me. Yeah. Like, I'm mentally, emotionally shaky every episode. Not just because of the story of the anime. I mean, ever since I read its manga, it's like, ugh, I really like this, and yet at the same time, why? I mean, those are the kinds of manga and anime that I really like watching or reading. Things that both make me really like the story that they have, and also make me question what made the author write that kind of story. Anyway,
So what is
let's
Given
talk
about?
Given. Now, Given is one of those animes that you don't really get the meaning of the anime or the manga just from its title. I mean, like, it's the story is about four guys who have a band together. There's Ritsuka, the main guitarist, Haruki, the drums. No.
No, he's
I
the
don't know.
bassist.
Haruki's
the bassist. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
There. Kabate.
Akihiko is drums,
Yeah.
and their new recruit is Mafuyu, who became their vocalist. Before that, the Ritsuka, Haruki, and Akihiko, the three of them, were an instrumental band. Then Mafuyu came along, wowed Ritsuka with his voice, and then pushed the other two to let Mafuyu into the band.
Yes.
Um,
I would watch that from a few's voice.
yes.
It's good, guys.
So the reason why it's called Given, I cannot say why unless I would give you spoilers.
It's a big spoiler.
But
So watch it.
yeah,
So watch it, kid.
the explanation of why the anime is called Given is so emotional and so impactful to the relationships that Mafuyu and the other band members have, that, you know, somehow it kind of shapes also what kind of relationships they have in the band. This actually affects me a lot because I am not actually a person with a lot of ambition. So, seeing anime like this actually motivates me. Maybe even just a little bit to act more into doing something fruitful in my life. And I guess. No, I'm not crying right now, don't worry. But
Not yet.
Are you crying?
Not yet.
But stuff like this is actually inspirational for me because it tells me that even if people have been doing stuff their whole lives, it doesn't mean that their problems end there, and it just shows me that, well, people still have to work hard in their chosen field so that they can keep getting better and better and being more content with the amount of progress that they are getting from whatever they're doing.
Aww. Thank you for sharing that. It's so inspiring. I want to watch now, but like, I'm the type of person that binge watches. So,
Alright,
we
I'll
shall
let you.
see.
You have 2 to 3 more weeks.
I have 3 weeks to watch it. I want to watch it now.
But the way they are portraying this season right now, I I think they already finished the first volume and they're just getting.
Yeah, they're actually done with the first volume already. The current episodes are already adapting the second volume.
Alright, how about you guys? Faye, would you have any recommendations for anime or manga?
I have none.
Oh, I see.
Not today.
Not even old anime or manga?
She doesn't really
I
like.
don't really watch
Oh, I see.
school life and stuff. So, I'm more of the adventure.
How about old ones?
I really don't. Really don't recall anything.
Sakura
Sorry.
Gakuin?
We're in high school.
I didn't have.
Special aid?
No, I didn't.
There, I got that.
Kidding.
How about you, Faye? How about you,
But I
Faye?
have one. It's Ghost Hunt.
Oh.
No.
Yeah, I know. It's really literal. It's just ghost hunting. But it starts with a girl named Mai Taniyama, who's just one day, like a group like us right now, they're just talking about ghost stories. Then suddenly, this certain dude named Kazuya Shibuya goes sneaking behind them and saying 5 when they were counting 1, 2, 3, 4, while they were
Yeah.
telling ghost stories while they turned off the lights.
Yeah, so they were counting off basically.
Yeah, and they thought it was a ghost. Then when they turned it on, it was just him. Then one day, Oran's high school style like shenanigans happened when Mai was like, she saw a weird camera in an old school building. She checked it out, and suddenly the bookshelf fell, and she fell on the expensive camera. And now she works for Kazuya Shibuya because she has debt to pay for that camera.
What?
Wow,
And now
Oran.
they're ghost hunting.
That
and
is Oran.
It's really a short manga. It has only 12 volumes. But the anime is cut short in a part that they just finalized on when Naru or Kazuya Shibuya. Oh, and it's a running joke in the anime though, where Naru is short for Kazuya Shibuya because he was a narcissist. But later on, they will know that Naru, the reason why they call him, that's why he was shocked when he was called that, it was his real name, his nickname for his real name, which is Oliver Davis. Sorry for spoiling. But
There we go.
but it's just so sad that in the anime they didn't adapt the part where they tell why he was in Japan. I like anime with twins in it, so yeah.
I see.
Yay! What else? Is there?
I find it interesting that there's not a lot of college anime.
That's true.
I, for one, would really like to see a college anime.
That's
because
true.
you're college.
I've actually watched a few.
But
Grand Blue?
Yeah.
And I didn't watch Grand Blue.
Actually,
That was a mess though.
I would vote that Given is also a college anime because
It's half,
two of the
yeah.
band members are high school, Ritsuka and Mafuyu, and the other 2 band members are college. There's Mafuyu and Haruki, and it's not just them two. There are other named college characters as well.
Actually, yeah. Kazegatsu
Kufuiteru, yes.
It has
Running
college
anime.
people too.
Oh yeah.
That's full of college
But
people.
I don't know. I just want to find an anime where they talk about the struggles of being a college student.
Oh.
Because I need to feel validated.
I was thinking, I was.
There is though.
It's not really a college anime, but I could say Amnesia is somehow college-based otome game / anime. Because the product is a psychology major, so it's like she's 18.
Wait, Shirdanshi was a college anime.
Yeah, but
Angelica,
sorry.
Shirdanshi was a college anime.
It was.
Cheerleading.
It was,
Guys, Shirdanshi is about male cheerleaders. It's very interesting.
Okay, so maybe there is
It was
college anime
interesting.
and it's not looking hard enough.
Maybe
No, they're also very rare. I just remember
Maybe
Shirdanshi.
college
They're
animes.
Very college centered.
yeah. I think the majors kind of thing makes it harder for them to focus on college since they're very specialized.
Yeah.
So probably they only have the working part because it's after college, so they have a different kind of setting.
Yeah.
But college, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, we do have like romance anime for high school and then romance anime for adulting.
So walang romance sa college.
There is a romance anime that's set in college. Golden Time.
Let's get. Oh yeah.
Golden Time set in college.
Nice.
they're in law school,
It's
like,
still-
and it doesn't feel like law school.
That's the problem with making a college anime, because it just feels like they're not taking their studies seriously enough.
It could be that, but actually in Japan, college students tend to really have a lot of free time. It's just how their education system is built. It's not that students are lazy or it's terrible. It's just how.
I mean, the high school ones, I would understand if they don't really show their studies part, because most of what we need to see from them is just group studies and everything, just to show that they are actually studying. But for college, I don't know. I guess the most that I've seen about college people is them doing homework.
I guess.
Yeah, or desk work, stuff
That's
like
true.
that. But I don't really see them interacting much within their lectures or stuff like
Oh my
that.
god, for you, Toby, sa college anime now too.
Yeah.
There's a college art.
But
I don't
It's still about swimming.
but it's the most about the swimming. That anime spent more time across the globe than in college.
Well, that's true.
Anyway, so I guess that wraps up our recommendations for this.
But since we're on the topic of college and futures,
Future.
Futures.
do you guys have any goals you want to share? With
At least for the semester.
At least for the semester. Or if you have future goals too and you've got it figured out, share it as well. Why don't you start?
It's me again.
Go
Because
ahead.
you started that inspiring story with Given, it feels fitting that you tell us how you move forward.
Alright, so I've always had this. Well, I think I've been very self-depreciating about my own abilities ever since high school. So I'm not really sure what I would like to do and what I would enjoy doing as a job. But maybe it's time for me to actually start looking around if there's a path that I can take. So I'm actually trying to find some way that I can become a voice actor.
Follow your dreams.
Okay, so I'm not sure how this works, because in Japan they actually have
Yeah, they have schools.
Yeah, they have schools for that.
high schools for voice acting. They take it that seriously, because voice acting is a very large part of what people do in Japan. Here you can have it for commercials. You can become the voice for commercials or for TV commercials or
For
radio
dubbing
commercials.
adaptations.
Yeah, adaptations of series that come from overseas that want to be translated to Tagalog, Filipino, stuff like that. But in Japan, there's already like a whole industry devoted into voice acting, and it's
Yes.
not just the anime. There's also the songs. Voice actors can easily transition into singers as well, and sometimes even into idols. Yeah.
Yes, they're very
So the
versatile.
podcast is kind of practice for you already. For articulating.
Yeah. Go Molly. There.
No, it is.
Anyway, I'm not saying this kind of thing doesn't come with its drawbacks. I mean, I've already listed quite a few things that I will first need to procure for me to even think about auditioning. First, a microphone.
My.
So I wouldn't be able to do any sort of voice acting. Sorry.
I gotta take over the voice too.
Sorry, I choked on my saliva. Anyway,
Yeah,
So-
it happens.
It happens.
without a decent microphone, and I think there was this voice actor I watched online that mentioned a Samsung brand microphone that is cheaper than what is the usually mentioned Blue Yeti. The Blue Yeti microphone is not exactly the cheapest microphone around, so if it's possible that I can find a microphone just as good, that would be actually wonderful. Next is I've actually found a place where I can do some auditions online.
Oh.
It's It's called what's that called again?
What is it?
Casting.
Castingclub.com?
Oh no, that's a different connotation. Oh no.
It's not sketchy.
What is it?
Okay, I have no idea if that's a real website.
Don't try it.
Please don't try it. Save yourself.
So I think it's called casting call club or something. It's not just for auditioning for voice acting. There's also for directing, script writing, stuff like that. Basically everything that comes into making a production that is either live or in movie format. Anyway, and then after that, there's still my fears that what if this is all just in my head, and even if I get a good microphone and I actually do manage to do a few auditions, what if I'm actually so unskilled that I
This is why you have to practice.
You never know if you
Don't
if
try.
you
Yeah,
don't try.
that's true.
And plus, if you work hard.
Maybe, just maybe.
Because
Maybe.
if you want it bad enough, you're gonna work hard for it until you get it.
That's
So
true.
you gotta have the spirit for it, man.
Yeah.
And maybe you never know. There are always a lot of opportunities that you just have to look a bit harder for.
Yeah.
Come on!
And maybe, you mentioned those AU schools in Japan. Like, what if they actually offer scholarships, even for foreigners?
Usually,
I mean, you
packed
could.
with students. I'm sure.
I mean, that Carol Tuesday have foreign voice actors.
Oh, yeah.
You're nice for their songs.
Actually, there might be a demand for, voice actors who can speak English. Proper English, yeah. The tea.
Okay.
Okay, so that's enough from me. Okay, so that's the goal that I want to set out from myself. Like, maybe not become a professional voice actor, but at least become a voice actor that can actually get work done.
I think that must still be a professional voice actor. Don't sell yourself short.
Yes.
It takes more than just one semester of your 6 months for a person to become a professional voice actor. I think that's a given.
Yeah.
Not just in the voice acting industry, maybe in any kind of industry. Yeah. Okay, so that's enough about me. Let's switch over to Pana.
Angelica.
It's fine. We'll go moment over there.
Yeah.
We'll still get used to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Easy. Defend thesis, graduate. That's it. 'Cause,
Simple,
like,
straightforward.
Simple, straightforward. Even though I'm not straight A.
A.
So yeah, even though it's the thesis topic, it's not the anime thesis like I was planning. It's still a good thesis topic because we're gonna look into the college degree decision making of high school students. High school students.
Nice.
So even though it's not the thesis I wanted, maybe who knows, it will lead to somewhere. And I have a thesis partner. Hi, Shalaya! Shout out to my
Shout out.
thesis partner.
Link in first that you not to watch this.
So yeah, me and my thesis partner, we really want the best thesis proposal award so bad because we're competitive as fudge. So yeah, I guess that's also a goal. We want to get the best thesis proposal award so we can flex on our other batchmates.
Nice.
And
do it.
yeah, I just want to see the sunflowers in June or July.
Oh, the sunflowers.
Sunflowers!
I've seen them so many years, but they weren't for me.
I want I want sunflowers that are for me this time, that I can see in person instead of Facebook posts. So
That's
yeah.
all aim to graduate in the earliest possible time then.
Oh, and
Even if it's not this year.
besides that, I also have a personal goal for AME. And yeah, I just really want to revive AME. We have a lot of future partnerships, so look out for that. We have a lot stored in you. Woo! So yeah, let's make AME. I don't know, not that line. It's bad.
Just make Ame visible.
It's like anime invisible.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Let's make awesome again.
Yay! Let's be more enthusiastic, guys. We got the anime and the manga, but we don't have a lot of enthusiasm yet.
We're all tired college students.
app right now.
Time to inspire people.
Yeah. Okay. Your turn, Ian.
Well, for this sem, my more short-term goal is really just to pass the GLPT entry level.
Time to officially
You've already
you being a
done
week.
N5 and N4?
I actually didn't take N5. I went straight to N4. But last December, yeah. I mean, I passed it. I passed it barely, actually. Barely. If I look at my scores, like, wow, I passed. But you know, it's still a pass is still a pass. So now I'm trying to brush up on my self-study. There's actually a lot of YouTube playlists about specifically geared to people studying N3. And then the nice part is actually the host in the video is teaching you in Japanese. So if you're at my level that you already have a sort of a background, it actually really helps you more because not only do you learn the actual vocab words that he's teaching, you also learn how things are used in sentences and basically, in conversation.
I see.
But as part of this is actually just a part of my more long-term goals. I recently actually came across this very interesting program that a Japanese company hosts. It's called Study Go Work Japan.
Oh.
And then basically what they do is, if you apply to them and you basically meet all their requirements that you're competitive enough as compared to other applicants, they actually send you to Japan for a week to sit in on interviews. So they actually bring you to the companies, they interview at the companies, and then at the end of the day, at the end of the interviews, you can find out on the spot if a company is interested in hiring you or not. And the best part is, it's all free. Yeah, actually, I did a lot of background checking because that sounded really sketchy. But yeah, it's legit, guys. It's legit. It sounds too good to be true, but it's legit. Like the airfare, the accommodation, it's free for a week. You just have to provide, of course, your clothes, maybe.
That's true.
You have to get some work.
Yeah. And then actually, they have a website. Yeah, just search Study Go Work Japan. They have a website, and then they list all the requirements there on how to apply. And then depending on your background, like what they look for in your credentials. And actually, I saw there that for my background, I really just need an N4 certification. So like, nice.
You're ready.
I'm ready. My body is ready. But I plan to wait to apply maybe until next semester so that I'm actually working on our information systems project because I can really pitch that to them like, I have a background in programming, in Python, in information systems, SQL, etc. And like, big words. Big words. This guy's legit. Let's accept him in our program. So, I'm looking forward to that. I hope that I get accepted. I hope that I don't choke in the interviews.
Best of luck to you.
So, how about you guys?
Okay, plug lang, AME's art group, AME CTO will be at Comiket this October.
Oh.
So, see you guys. We're gonna have lots of new merch and other stuff, probably other AME merch like shirts or
More
random stuffs. Random stuff like charms, pins, and probably commissions as well from our alumni and current members. So yeah, yay! So yung short-term kong goal is actually to survive the sem because I still really don't know much about CT and I feel na parang ang dami niyang requirements kahit it looks simple at first pero it's more I think trying to get used to yung kanilang way of thinking na yung sa fashion, how clothes affect people and how everything affects clothing, that kind of thing. And yun. So yun. And my long term is actually wanting to have a story of my own. Like a comic, webcomic, anything like that. So I wish now there would be readers of my webcomic. I want medyo like child-friendly comic so that everyone can enjoy it, the whole family can enjoy it, that kind of thing. Yeah.
I actually like a few webcomics, maybe a few. Just tell me if you've already like posted it online.
Sure. So, and I really want na one time I will see my friends sharing my stuff without them knowing it was from me. Parang ganun.
Nice.
Never say it.
I won't say it. You guys will just know it's her style. Oh, it's my friend. Oh. Yun lang. That's my parang long term goal.
My short-term goal is to pass the thesis proposal colloquium day, which is on the last day of this
Semester.
Yeah, because even though we have a topic, it's not yet officially our thesis proposal, it seems. As said from my prof, like, why? I thought it's already your topic. Apparently it wasn't. So we have to still defend it on the last day of the sem. Then if we pass it, we pass the thesis part 1. Then next sem would be our implementing things. It's like, please let me just pass so that I can continue, or else I'll be too late again.
Yeah.
But since I'm gonna be really light in this sem, I just wish AME for more events, and hopefully next year we could have a fair for our 20th year. Yes.
Like a fair.
Hopefully.
Been a long time coming.
Yeah.
The last one was our batch.
And we're all graduating.
And we're the
A
graduate.
long-term goal.
Events is actually very hard to sustain.
Yeah.
They are.
Philippines, especially when there are like so much of them and so many.
Alright, let's go UP AME!
Ike AME.
But yeah, hopefully we get a few of our own again. It's been a
Yeah.
few years since.
That's the end of our podcast. So yeah, we just talked about our school life, we talked about school anime, and we talked about our goals after school or even during school.
Sure.
Yeah, we're not getting out that easily.
Not usually.
That's so foreboding.
Soon enough.
We're gonna get out soon enough.
Soon.
In our own time.
Yeah, on our own time. Yay, congrats for the first podcast recording once again. This has been Angelica.
Eric.
Ian.
Faye.
And you've just listened to AME After Hours. This is our first podcast and we have many more to come. So like, comment, subscribe, all that good shit. I was doing so good! I was doing so well!
So close. So close.
Now we're gonna cut the audio before I say that. Joke!
Yeah, just
Okay,
all the good
let's-
stuff.
All that good stuff. Okay, that's it. Bye guys. See you next week.
Bye.